Aloha Manga Clip Chapter 1314 of Hajime no Ippo has been translated for 24 hours, but I'm not getting any pictures. I want to talk about it anyway because you deserve the best. So if you remember, in the past few chapters, we've gotten this real insight into Ricardo's mind, into the fact that he is kind of a child. He's more depressing on the inside than I would have ever thought from the champion. He just wants to have a good fight, and that's all that he really wants. He was almost willing to sacrifice the match just so he could have an opponent, like get in there and get something done. He wants to light a fire, but he just hasn't found that person capable. And we've started to see these cracks in Billy. In the previous chapter, we see that the clamshell is starting to crack, and this chapter might be the very end, so let's dive into it. And we open up with the very first sentence basically saying that Ricardo lightly taps Billy's left arm with his left, oddly, and something goes wrong. Billy's left hand drops down. And Ricardo's saying, "What's up? I'm counting on you. Hit as hard as you can, like what happened earlier." And this is very reminiscent of a scene where the arm drops down during a Detroit or Philadelphia style guard, much like the match between Ippo and Mashiba, when Ippo kept hammering this fist in to the elbow of Mashiba to make him drop this guard down. And that's when Ippo actually broke his hand for the first time right before his first match with Sendo. So it's very fitting that Sendo is sitting here saying this. It's almost a retelling and a reigniting of the passion in Ippo. Maybe. His left arm is down, and Ricardo just starts to send a fury of blows into Billy, just hitting him repeatedly, just really laying it on thick, but he's not hitting with rights. It's just pure jabs. His left, he is dominating the world with these jabs. And again, this is another sentence that we've heard before. To stand at the very top, you need to be dominant in the basics, and that's what Ricardo is. And I think that's what we're really starting to see, that I don't think a lot of people are really understanding. Ricardo is the king of basics. All that he does is show basics, and he is the very best, much like the Pokemon song. And Sendo says, "I've seen this. I was in love with a man who pulled this off, this breaking of the arm. I want to apply for a man's match. And Sendo remembers this, and his fighting spirit is once again reignited. And Ippo says to himself, "Strong. I know he is strong," referring to Ricardo, but I have no idea how strong he is. After all, if it weren't for the same level of power, wouldn't it be impossible to bring out his strength? Maybe for the rest of my life, I'll never show my true power. It's outrageous. It's lonely." And Ricardo says, "Also, I was not tried." And that's kind of the sad thing here. Ricardo swings, and Billy falls on his butt, goes down, and the ref intervenes, ending the match. This was literally barely over 3 chapters. Like, let's be honest here. This match could have been amazing, but Billy just doesn't stack up to having the 2 qualities that you need to really fight against Ricardo. Yes, you need technique. You need something special, but you also have to have this fire, this burning desire, and the ability to really push through your limits, in a very shonen-esque term, to come across it. And Ricardo says, "I just want to know how much power I have. No one can tell me, no one will guide me, no one has tested me. I want to get closer to the heart and the depths of boxing. I want the truth. Please, someone get to me." "I won." And Ippo says, "You won, but it looks undescribable. I wonder what kind of view Ricardo is seeing right now. What does the champion see?" And to me, this is the real igniting for Ippo coming back. He is starting to ask what the champion sees. And for anyone who's ever strived to be at the top, it's not about how strong I can be. Sometimes it's about what is the view like? What do you get to see when you're standing up there? And Ippo is starting to discover this about himself, and I'm loving that aspect. And we change location to the high ground, the hill, and Gonzalez says, "Hey Ricardo, I guess that's as far as I'm going to go," referencing his retirement. "I've always thought of you as a real brother. That's why I didn't want to leave you alone. But don't worry, I'm going to make sure that you are not alone. The Japanese won't make you lonely." And to me, that's kind of like saying, I'm going to really push these athletes to come at you, to chase after you. And I think that Alfredo may be getting up there with Sendo to try to pull Ippo back in, because he sees these 2 strong, terrifying men as challengers for the one he considers his family, his brother, his blood, almost his idol. And that's what really caused Alf to go full crazy in the first place. He just started swinging at Ippo in, Death God mode, because Ippo was posing a challenge for the great and powerful Ricky. And I'm loving this. I'm loving the fact that we're seeing this really build on top of itself. And Skamara says, let's go home. Let's meet up with Takeshi and the others to celebrate. And Ippo says, yes. And that's how we end the chapter. There's going to be a chapter next week. But what really excites me here is we're building on top of these ideas that Jordan's been laying down. To be at the very top, you can't just have a monster mentality. You can't just have technique. You need to have a combination of both. You need to be an intelligent boxer. And all of you saying that Sendo is not an intelligent boxer are not necessarily wrong, but I think that he has more boxing sense, more innate boxing sense than what Ippo does. He did turn the Alfredo match into a slug out match, and I think that Alfredo probably should have won it, as much as that sucks to say about Sendo, but it does give us this really good view of potentially Sendo facing off against Ricardo, beating him. Okay, that's not going to happen. Ricardo beating Sendo, and Ippo finally carrying the torch for not only Date, but for Sendo, his, second biggest rival, and the one who keeps pushing him further and further along. I really hope that Alfredo gets involved with these talks of pushing Ippo, because it would be a waste of a character. Alfredo is so interesting. He's bloodthirsty. He's vicious. He's like that would not be a good thing to say. He's like just like a small mad dog version. I was going to say Chihuahua, so I apologize, of, the big pit bull that is Takamura. Like, he has this violence, this mentality about him, and I know that a lot of people won't draw that same conclusion. But there's something special about Alfredo that I think will help pull Ippo back into the fray, and I'm really excited. Maybe we get some more explanation post-fight as to what Ricardo's mentality is when it comes to boxing. I'm really excited. Let me know what you thought of this chapter down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo related content. And for everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohuli, and I will see you next video.